Who is not seeing? So, just a second.
Hello? All right. Mic check. 1, 2.
Morning. This is Group Kampala. We are talking about Mothers Empowerment Group. Not.
You see, you put it here, here. And be loud.
Amatere Joan. This is Kampala Group. We are going to present our organization, which is Kampala Mothers Empowerment Organization. And our mission is providing mothers with good health through sensitization. Then the vision is, in the next 13 years, the Mothers Empowerment Organization will be a champion in delivering free mothers health care services. And our background is Mothers Empowerment Organization, which is Mejo, is an implemented non-government organization launched in 2007 by a group of UCU students from Kauga, Mukono, with an aim of empowering and sensitizing mothers with the best health service care. Why Mejo was formed, is another person present.
Morning, everyone. So this is the reason as to why Mejo was formed. When I say Mejo, I'm talking about the Mothers Empowerment Organization. Well, according to the statistics by the World Health Organization, the continent has a shortage of 4.2 million health workers, and this is so sad. But then by 2030, the World Health Organization is telling us that this number will have increased by 6.1 million health workers. That means that we are not having enough health workers in the continent. So, Mejo comes in to fight this. We are not moving along with these statistics, but we are trying to go hand in hand to stop the shortage, but rather come up with the statistics as the number of health workers on the continent. Someone else is going to talk about the aims and objectives.
Aims and objectives: to improve on the mother's health inequalities through sensitization in the community. The second one is to reduce the burden of caring for the sick and the elder mothers. The rest, to increase the number of health services in the community.
Yeah, activities offered. Run a community center in Mukono with different ovarians that have been implemented with an overall aim of empowering mothers and their families with good health. In this way, we shall be having a center where we shall be basing to provide services in 2 different communities. Another one, offer free maternity pads. This maternity pads majorly goes to the pregnant mothers. We shall be providing like this, like items like sanitary towels, This will help the mothers during the time of producing, giving birth, to maintain their sanitation or promote hygiene after giving birth. This retains mothers in health care and providing them with RVs. In this way, we shall be maintaining this through sensitizing them by reminding them whether they are supposed to take RVs if they are not aware, because some of them, they tend to, if they realize that they have like HIV, they tend to run out. They don't want to take a medicine in time, so they tend to forget what's in this way. We shall be retaining them in the medication. Meant as mothers with health education, younger mothers. In this way, we shall be training young mothers with different activities concerning about health. These activities these young mothers shall help us in providing services. Another one, following up mothers' health appointments. We shall be reminding the mothers, if in case there is an appointment, to turn up. Let me allow my...
Continuation of consoling and guidance. Activities offered to mothers, counseling and guidance, in the way that they provide counseling and guidance to the pregnant mothers in order for them to prepare for their birth. Producing kids, free antenatal cares for expectant mothers, family. In these free antenatal services for expectant mothers, we provide like the mothers organization provides free antenatal services, like offering them with pads, like he said, offering them with services, family planning services. In this, like family planning services, they provide mothers with like family planning, mothers, they provide mothers with Okay, you have understood that. Free immunization for babies. Like they offer free immunization for babies that are produced. We're going to the legal framework, and that's Mejo.
Well, for every organization to be in place, there has to be some legal terms connected to that organization. And this is our legal framework. Mejo is governed by the Non-Governmental Organizations Act, CAP 113 of 1989. This defines an organization as a non-governmental organization established to provide charitable or voluntary services to the community. And as you can see, Mejo is doing charitable services, just as she explained. Let her go back to this other slide before. As you can see, we are offering free antenatal services. We are offering free family planning services. All of our services are free. We don't want any money from the mothers, but we are doing this at a free price. So, next slide. That's why you see it's the Non-Governmental Organizations Act that is governing our organization. Well, someone will talk about.
Good morning. Since our organization is a non-government organization, we get our funds basically from AIDS, Some of the examples, we had the Church of Uganda, whereby we have a situation whereby during church services, there's always a time whereby like there's a basket in some churches that comes once in a while, and it is to the needy. So that's some of the way we shall be getting our funds. Then the United States of America, which is always there to provide funds to the organizations that are non-government organizations that are there to render help to the needy. In this case, the mothers, which are very, very crucial in the national state as a whole. Then the United Kingdom is also under the same situation of giving funds, grants to the organization. Shall I go to the next slide? I'll briefly talk about the registration process also. The registration process, as you see, recommendation letter from the local council one and the ministry. That is supposed to be your first step before you start up the non-government organization that is based in a certain area or a local area. Then we shall formulate the work plan on how work is supposed to be run, how administration is supposed to be done in the organization, and how people are supposed to do different activities in a stipulated time. We have to acquire 2 copies of the constitution by the law. Our organization has its constitution, but we shall first discuss our slides. If we still have the time, we shall be able to go through the constitution. Draw the organization chart, how the hierarchy, how people are, different people are supposed to be arranged in the organization, who runs who is above who, what are you supposed to be doing. And then we also have a registration fee of 20,000. That's for the people who will be wanting to join and come on the board. Thank you. The final remarks.
The final remarks. As the Kampala group, we did our research in a work-related organization, which was the Mothers Union in Mukono. We were enlightened, Our experience there enlightened us with more practical comprehension about public organization theory. Therefore, we highly recommend fellow students to involve themselves in such activities so as to acquire more practical skills. Thank you.
So I would want, let's clap for them. All right. I ask you to stand a bit straight so that you don't affect those people as well. Now, I'm going to want to meet you after our class, the general class. And the other thing is 10 questions will be coming from you. So I hope you've been getting what they've been talking about. Random selection of 10 people to ask questions. One of the last presenters who talked about registration said that they would talk about the Constitution if time allows. And I want to quickly tell him that time allows for that. So if you can quickly walk us through your Constitution, we get to know what your organization has in plan for us and the rest of it. Thank you. In the meantime, we shall take 2 questions on what they have, where did they say they press it from? Yeah, you need to ask. So I want about 2 questions while they're fixing their constitution. From, I think I'll get 1 question from him, and then I'll get 1 other question from her. Okay? So I hope you've been listening to what they were saying. We shall have questions reflecting on the presentation that they have walked us through. You get it? So let's have your question. I started with you.
Good morning. So, like, you've spoken about the what family planning methods, and so how are you going to be able to hope? How are you going to be able to help these ladies together with? Okay, based on the current situation in Uganda, about the early pregnancies and all that, early marriages, how will you be able to help these ladies to stop all that?
Well, thank you so much for that question. What you're trying to ask us is how we are going to cut down the early pregnancies, right? We talked about the free family planning services. You see, for someone to have a kid, you're supposed to have sex, right? Sex is something you can't control, but we are bringing these family planning services, the contraceptives. You've heard of things like postinas. If mothers stick to this, then we are going to help them curb the population growth rate of Uganda, right? Or of Mukono. Because the population growth rate of Mukono right now is alarming. So we are going to give out these free family planning services to help curb down that the early pregnancies, the girls that are trying to get pregnant at an early stage, something like that. Some other question?
Thank you, Kampala, for your presentation. I must commend you. It was very good. My question goes, so you said you're going to remind the mothers, and what's your strategy for reminding them to go for their appointments? And what's your strategy of ensuring they adhere to taking their ARVs? For example, those ones who don't have phones, how are you going to reach out to them to remind them that your appointment is today? Thank you.
Yeah, to remind our mothers to take their medicine in case they have an appointment with us. You can follow them up to their homes. Then you remind them that you're supposed to meet the counselor. Then they counsel them in how the use of ARVs in their bodies so that they may not miss out to take their ARVs.
Okay, yeah, she talked about how the mothers will be reminded on how to come for their ARVs, and also to it's a normal schedule in every health organization. After getting your first dose of a pill, in case you need more attention from the medical doctor, they'll have to tell you to come back. And as any normal human being, if you're requested to come back for your second dose or what, you are supposed to take responsibility and command. So that's what we shall be basically doing. You refer them to when they are supposed to come back and get their ARVs. Thank you. Okay, yeah. So this is a constitution. The preamble is kind of long, so we shall go to the basic. So we shall start here with the basic. We have the Article 1.0. That is the name of the organ. The name of the organ shall be called the Mothers Empowerment Organization. The locations are also stipulated here: Kauga Mukono District, The address of the organization shall be Mothers Empowerment Organization Mukono, PO Box 04, Mukono, Uganda. Email meo@gmail.com.gg. The nature of the organ shall be a non-profit making organization, since it's a non-government organization. The only funds that we have the only fee that is in our organization is basically the membership registration fee. But the rest, we don't intend to earn any profits from anywhere. The aims, purpose, and objective. Overall aim is advancement of mothers' sphere of the health standards. The purpose of the organ is to be especially concerned with all the promotions of health. Yeah, and so on and so on. So someone else will start on the memberships.
The membership of Mejo, they're mainly BPAM students, and their board, I'm going to move down to the board, to the structure itself, because that's where. So in our structure, we have the president, vice president, the speaker, the deputy speaker, the secretary, and the treasurer, the community development coordinator, that's the CDC in short. Then the organization should also have patrons. So the different structure members will have different duties they will have to do. So let's start with the president. The president will have to head organization committees, as in like the president will have to be there in each and every committee, and if he is not there or she is not there, she will have to pay a fine or report. She will also have the responsibility of different fundings, like follow up if we have received the different funding organized from different places, and also the funding that takes place within the organization, like the different payments that you make, the 20,000 that you pay will also include on the funds. She'll also have to safeguard the constitution and also the welfare of the members, because most of our members will be women, because we cater for the mothers. So a person who can only understand a woman's issue is a fellow woman. So she'll also have to take care of the board members and also get to know what they are going through. And so the other is the vice president. In case the president misses, like he misses a meeting, the vice president will have to stand in for that person. And the other thing is, our organization, most people may say it only segregates for the women, but we can also include like men on our boardship just to be there, because you know everyone has their way of helping others. They might help us to get funds or advise us in some things like accounting. So that's why I'm using a he or a she. Then the vice president will also be responsible for the organization affairs, like the coordination, the meetings, the different people that are benefiting from the organization. Then the speaker will have to set meetings and also will have to read through the constitution, like to amend it in case of any changes. Then the other thing, the speaker will always have to assemble the members in case of any urgent meeting. Then let's move to the speaker, the deputy speaker. The deputy speaker will have to have responsibility of the speaker's absence, like in case the speaker misses any assembly, or in case if there is an urgent issue to talk about, or a rule in, an article in the Constitution to amend. In case the speaker is not there, the deputy speaker will fill in. The deputy speaker has to write minutes of the meetings. Then the secretary is responsible for all the other functions of the organizations, like organizing meetings in case the speaker and the deputy speaker is not around, writing minutes of the meetings, writing information got out of the meetings, and also reminding the board members the different things we talked about in the meetings. Then the treasurer will have to organize a budget, as in like prepare it, and also will have to be accountable for the different funds. Then the others, I think that will be all. Thank you.
Before we conclude, I wanted to give you some of the board members that we had. Yeah, that's the list of our board members. We have Chirabo Maureen, Akelo Angela, Nantamba Catherine, Mirembe Faith, Kunihira Vanessa. So basically this is our constitution. We've tried to make it as brief as possible so that we could make our presentation in time. Thank you. Any questions?
So thank you very much. We shall have questions for sure. Don't ask whether there is any question. You'll ask one, the second. This is the third question. I hope you're mastering the people. He appears to be in the class. I don't know who he is, but he's going to ask the fourth question. We shall have the fifth question. Fifth question. Ino wants to ask, so the sixth question. The seventh question is here. We shall have the eighth question here. The ninth question there. Number 10 would be here. 10th question. You've mastered them? Okay? So let us all wait for the questions to
start.Mine is not a question, but when you guys were discussing, I heard you talk about Mukono, I think, and she's supposed to refer to only Kampala since it's a Kampala group.
That is our question. We shall get over 5 questions, then you respond to them. So someone should take note. I hope you... The next question? Where is the next person?
Basically, my question goes to the board members. I would like to know how, apart from meetings and everything, how does the board solve disputes within the organization? For example, in case there is a shortage of funds or there is a shortage of resources to carry out the organizational activities, how does the organization solve such issues?
Thank you. The next person.
Thank you for your presentation. My question concerns the maternity pads you talked about. I'd like to know more about them. Yeah, that's it.
The next question.
Mine is, So far, what are the achievements for the organization since it has been existing since 2007?
So the organization has been in existence since 2007. He is asking for your achievements so far.
Thank you for your discussion. And I was just wanting to know what your future expectations are. Future expectations.
I think Ino had a question.
Okay. I'm appreciating your presentation, but there are some issues I never understood properly. Like one, could you be having some other organization which is rendering the same service that you are doing, that you look up to and you're like, let us also start this. And another one happens to be like, in your presentation, you can look at all this and the services they are rendering. There's nothing which is stipulated on the functions, the work which this one is going to be doing. Wait, I'm asking. In reference to what the activities of the organization, okay? Because you're telling us you're going to be carrying out some medical things like immunization, but there's nothing to do like that. The president is going to go for immunization, is the vice president. So in accordance to your activities which you're going to be rendering to the community, it has nothing to do with this organization structure. So, you understand? Yeah. And another thing is that this is a community-based organization, but in accordance to what each individual in your organization is rendering to the community. There's nothing which is like medicine. No one is well versed with medicine, but you're going to be rendering medical services to the community. So how are you going to be doing it? So those are the three questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that series of questions.
Thank you for your presentation. I've seen you with different sources of funds, and in case I wanted to fund you, in case I wanted also to fund you, which process would I pass through?
Which process should she pass through if she wanted to fund you? Stop asking for pardon, let it clear. I hope those are the questions. We shall want you to answer them within the next. It's a follow-up question. Let's not take it for fun. Huh? This is serious.
Thank you, guys. I just have one question for you. How has your group worked to build trust and relationship in the field?
Okay, that's a good question. Thank you. No. We shall have you respond. And like I said, I hope you are taking notes of the questions.
I'm going to talk about the CDC. Innocent, you asked about how our structure coordinates with the activities we do. As I talked about the CDC in full is the Community Development Coordinator. So the Community Development Coordinator coordinates each and every activity that takes place. If mothers really take the ARVs, if mothers come to the hospital, because the CDC won't be alone, obvious case he or she will have people that follow him or her. So those people will have to go to different places to monitor the mothers, to talk to them, talk to the different doctors. And also some other person talked about Mukono, some other person talked about, because yes, we are Kampala group, but right now we are in Mukono, and if a person really wants to know where we exist and where we stand and where we are, obvious case, the person will have to look for Mukono district and the Mejo organization. Thank you.
I want to answer the question for Kisa, which was like future expectations. Our future expectation is like we want to be pioneers in providing free services all over the community come 2030.
To add on what he's saying, Kisa asked for our future expectations. But then as we were, I think we should help me. I want to show her the slides, and I wanted to see exactly what we're saying. We said in the next something years, those are our future prospects. Like, if I say in the next something years, then it's in the future. So those were our future prospects. And then, in the next 13 years, the Mothers Empowerment Organization will be a champion in delivering free mothers' health care services. Innocent got it wrong because he was quoting saying medical services. No, it's health. Health. You said no one knows about medicine in our group, but we are well versed with these things. We are going to, when I talk about this, then the doctors come in. It's not basically medicine. So quote it right, it's healthcare services. Then Nisha wanted to know more about the maternity pads. We offer free maternity pads. Well, you see, after mothers giving birth, bleeding does not only stop from the hospital, but it also continues after some days, right? Girls, am I wrong? I'm right. Well, these pads are the ones that are used. Instead of having the sanitary pads, the ORAs, we shall have the maternity pads offered to the mothers at free of charge, at a free cost. Any other questions? Kawaya talked about something about trust, the trust that we gain. How did we gain trust between us and the people in the field? Well, last semester we did a course unit of communication and public relations skills. It's from that course unit that we acquired the communication skills. Right now we are gurus in talking to the people from the field. Apart from that, we went for internship, we went to the fields, we associated with people now. It's from that experience of the 50 days that we got to bring to our group. Thank you. Yes. Yes. I was referring to, for your easy understanding, we're referring to that course unit because people, it's not funny. Can you please listen?
Okay, I'm going to answer his question. He asked, okay, your question was relating to the work of the CDC. Okay, so yeah, the CDC goes around, because you asked how do the board members, right, get to know about the things that happen in the field and relate to them and the functions, right? Hello? Yes? Yes. So yeah, This CDC goes onto the ground or in the field, gets to know what's happening, and then brings it back to the table. And after the CDC, there are these guys who are the wardens? The patrons. They get to know what's happening around. They bring it back to the table, information, and then we talk about it. So that's how these board members get to know about everything. It's through the CDC's work. Understood? Thank you.
Yeah, so our last question, it was Elizabeth who asked about, in case they want to fund us, how would they fund us? How would they find, how would they find ways of funding us? A non-government organization has its own way. Yeah, it's equal to the sources of funding, whereby you can find us. Let us assume there are different days we can offer to go to a certain place, and you can endeavor to find us there. Let us assume at a church. We shall have special days in our organization whereby we shall be contacting the potential funding agencies so that they can come in and render help to the organization. Thank you very much. No, yeah, Innocent is question of related organizations. We have the Mothers Union. It's in Mukono district. We have, basically it was Mothers Union that we serve the mothers, Kampala. Yeah, those are the two organizations we basically looked at and gave priority so that would come up with a Mothers Empowerment Organization. I think that's all.
So that is it. Thank you so much. Let's clap for them. Clap for them. Thank you. We shall go back down. We still have some more minutes for me to talk about certain things. The name of our course unit is Public Organizational Theories, right? And as it is Public Organizational Theories, we are trying to see the different organizations that you people have started. How does that feed into the theories we are learning in class? One of the things, I gave you enough time to present, so I'm just going to talk generally. You come in front of the class and you just look disorganized. I'm not saying they were disorganized, I'm just kind of giving you what my expectations are. Confused, some members are not knowing of what they're going to talk about, you will fail. Properly. You get it? So at this point, I believe they have already set another precedent. So they have already set another precedent, and that means that any organization that is going to be presenting which is going to super or be below theirs, you will fail. You like saying that when I say you will fail, I tease you. But I'm telling you the truth. So if you come in front of us here and you're presenting in a mediocre way, maybe to think you're feeling sweet in your team or stuff like you come late when you knew I informed you earlier that you should all be here and on time, you will fail. This is something I don't go back on. So it's very important that when you're taking these public organizational theories, you should know how the different theories, but also how the class feeds into what we are learning. What are you presenting? How does this feed into the organizational theory class? So I would definitely meet the team that has presented later. We shall go through a review of how the class went, just like I do with other teams and stuff like that. So having said that, today we are going to learn, we are going to take a class on organizational change. It's going to be on organizational change. So it's one of the last lessons or it's basically going to be the organizational change process. Organizational change process. Some members, some of you decided to sign in advance. So you know that today you're not going to be there, you signed in advance. It's like going and requesting for some money in advance so that you can get it and cut from your salary. What? No, you're not. There's no today. So we're going to talk about organizational change process. What causes organizations to change? Okay? Who changes? What happens? Is it institution as a whole? Is it individuals in that organization singularly? Is it a team, a group that works in a particular department that changes? What is change? What is the organizational change process? And what triggers that? The other big question we shall also be asking ourselves is it important for organizations to change? So while you are there reflecting on the issue of change processes, which we shall discuss later on down that side, when we go to C block in the next probably 15 minutes, I want you to think about what are some of those points that lead organizations to change. Maybe you would, and then when we go down there, we shall discuss them. We'll try to panel bit, see where we can talk about, how to arrange it, and things like that. You get it? Do you get it? Yeah. So basically that is what I was going to talk about. She asked me, are we going to have another presentation? I said it's just one presentation a week. So since it's public budgeting class I have with you and organizational theories, that would mean that you have 2 presentations for each course unit you take. You get it? Yeah. So basically, what do we mean by organizational change if we are to kind of delve into this topic now? Yeah? What comes to your mind? And let me hope that the moment you have the notes, because many of you are crying about notes, I hope that when I ask you these questions, I can get some concrete feedback in regards to this. So these things of chickening out, and you just want to look at me like sausages. Many of you, when you see sausages, you start salivating, especially when the month of November comes. I'm told brokenness is almost, like I was telling Apollo last time, you support, huh? Okay? Yeah. So what do we mean by organizational change? I said I had pointed you. I want to hear from you. Yeah. Say something about organizational change. And sometimes people like, someone was holding it like it's hot. Like they gave you posho, which is hot from the fire, and they told you to hold. Mike. Yeah, then I'll come to you. So he's referring to policies that can manage employee behavior, you're saying, according to the current situation, but according to also the location, something like that? Is that what you said? So why don't you say what you've said? Planning and implementation of organizational policy. Maha, you're still. Okay. So when you say employee behavior, what are you trying to refer to? Because employee behavior might be it's a very broad statement. This whole class is actually, this whole course unit under which we are going through these organizational stages is basically looking at organizational behaviors and employee. So organizational behaviors and employee behaviors is almost the same. So what do you mean by that? That's good. So you use a very important point and you say, so maybe there is some challenge or there is some policy that has not been put in place because when the organization was starting, they didn't see the need for it, right? So as time goes on, you come to realize that it's very important to have these policies put in place. And therefore, it would demand or it would need an organization to shift and fit in with the policy or the changing environment of that institution, right? So you bring in a very interesting point on maybe employee behavior, especially when it comes to when a particular policy wasn't put in place and later on it metamorphs. When I say metamorphs, you know? Metamorphosis. Mushrooming is like coming many. It is, so the butterfly cycle is we call that in different stages, right? You get it? Metamorphosis. It metamorphs. It moves from one position where it was to another. So mushrooming would mean it just comes out in so many angles, which is difficult to solve. But I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just that the example doesn't tie in very well. What other? So what he gave us a very good, we're trying to elaborate a bit more. Yeah, organizational change process. A change in management style. That can either be caused by a team leader. I thought you were a change in management style that can be affected by a team leader. We would have, thank you for contributing on that. What examples would come to your mind, maybe to supplement on what you've said? If the what?
If the new manager is recruited, can either change dressing code or the working style in the organization.
Right. So he says if a new manager is recruited, a new manager might bring in a new dress code, how people dress in that institution. But also a new manager might come in and say, I want how we do our works to be taken differently. That's already metamorphosis. That's already change, a shift from how things were done those days to how things are done differently, to a new day. NSSF, I think when there was the guy called Jama or someone like that. Yeah? Jamwa. He later on left, and then they brought in an acting ED, and then they brought in this gentleman. So I happened to have a friend who was working in the procurement department. And when this new, I don't know the name of the NSSF ED, current one. What's his name? But how many of you know what NSSF is in full? Just to be sure. Let's just to be sure. Yeah, I'm not saying you don't know, but thank you for that. It's just for everyone to know, okay? Sometimes I can say NSSF when someone from Rwanda doesn't know what NSSF is, when someone from South Sudan doesn't know what NSSF is. So don't look at me with bad eyes that how can he just ignore us this level. So when the new manager came in, the new ED came in, one of my colleagues, friends of mine who was in NSF procurement department said, this gentleman came in and he started, one of his approach was to move in office by office and sit with the team just to learn. I think, I don't know his style, but he just moves in and sits in office to learn about you, the employee, to learn about your department, to learn about maybe the challenges that you're experiencing, to learn about maybe a little bit about how the work dynamics and the teamwork is in the office. So he moved in all those departments. It's actually, I think, almost a week or two doing that, sitting with different departmental heads and different individuals who are working for him at that time to learn about them. Then after that, you can now start seeing people who are getting fired, some who are getting retained, promotions were happening. It is sort of a different way in which he was coming in with his management style. So I wanted to say Peter made a very important point. Okay, just the same as when we had, I not want to use this example. Maybe with Ellen Kajina. Actually, when Musisi came in, Jennifer Musisi also, so many changes and so many fights also happened. Maybe because of the change, the organizational change, the approach that was being used and was taken, right? Yes. Someone was raising their hand, yes. Okay, so that she actually talks about a very important point. We are left with 4 minutes to go. The structural theory, the idea that when an organization maybe has, once the people they are employing or the people they are providing the services to, especially if it's a business sort of related institution, the fewer the number of people they are providing services to, the increase in the number of or employee turnover. So the staffs become fewer, maybe because the organization lacks structure, or maybe because infrastructure, or maybe because it lacks access. But the more the number of the people, the services they are providing for, the higher the number of people they tend to employ, and the higher the number of provision of services in that institution. So thank you, that's very good. That is very good. So for you to get your bags, we shall proceed from there in C2. I hope no one has taken over our class. The chairs you have carried, you take them back, fix them there. That's it. We don't have much time. Thank you.